being that I've had so many questions asked to me about these 3400 motors, I'm going to make a quick video on all the issues that these things have. One of the main issues is that they tend to overheat, or they have bad intake manifold gaskets. One of the signs of a bad intake manifold gasket would be leaking down here behind the water neck. One way to check is if it's leaking inside, then you'll have white residue on your oil cap, or whenever you pull the oil dipstick. If you do wind up having a bad intake manifold gasket, it's always best to go ahead and change the head gasket along with it, because the head gaskets on these 3400 motors tend to go bad pretty frequently as well. I've done several, and after you do the head gaskets and the intake manifold gaskets, everything else seems to work just fine. So I'm going to go over all the parts that are on this GM 3400. This is obviously the upper intake, the power steering reservoir, your alternators back here. You got a idler pulley, where my finger's at, right down here. Underneath that is the tensioner, obviously the drive belt, the water pump. Underneath that is the air conditioner, the mass airflow sensor, the throttle plate connected to the throttle cable, and the cruise control cable. The cruise control on this model is up there. The EGR valve back here that goes into the intake, the MAP sensor, the manifold absolute pressure sensor, intake air temperature sensor. Back here is the idle air control valve, and underneath that, you may be able to see it, is the TPS, the throttle positioning sensor. Underneath here is your coolant sensor by the water neck. And if you're wanting to bleed the air out of the system, which is another issue these tend to have, is sometimes they'll run hot and cold. You need to bleed the system, is to add fluid into the radiator all the way to the top when it's cold. Start it up, let it run until it reaches operating temperature, and then turn out these bleeders. They're 7 millimeters on top of here, and then there's another one on top of the water neck over here. You turn those out until fluid comes out. You start with this one, wait till fluid comes out. Once you have fluid coming out, antifreeze, you'll tighten that back up, then you'll come over here to the other side and do this side here, and then let air come out of the system. And then obviously make sure you have enough fluid in the overflow reservoir too. And if after you have fluid come out, you have heat inside the cabin, but let's say you only have heat inside the cabin for a little bit, and then the thing tends to overheat. Well, the problem you're having is it's a bad head gasket, and these engines do have a reputation for bad head gaskets. And then you'll find that you'll have to re-bleed these things every time you bleed it. The same issue happens. It's because you're not building enough pressure inside the cylinders to allow fluid to come through. And another telltale sign would be that you're having air coming into the overflow reservoir. It'll bubble at idle, meaning that exhaust gases are escaping back into the coolant system, causing an overheating issue. And yeah, it's kind of a job to do it, and I'll try to add some links in this video to how to go about fixing these particular issues. But I would strongly suggest that you do the head gaskets if you are in there doing a intake manifold gasket job. Not that much work, and it will certainly pay off in the long run. It may cost you an extra $100 to $200, but trust me, it's certainly worth it. Batteries over here, and fuse relays over on this side. I know that on the Grand Ams and Aleros, they're on the different sides. I know the Impalas came with these motors as well, along with the Venture vans, the Montanas, the Silhouettes, Rendezvous, and even the 3100 motors are a lot like that too. Yeah, I know I'm talking a lot, but that's kind of what this video is going to be about. I'm trying to at least explain to what needs to be fixed. The intake and exhaust push rods are of different lengths. The intake is shorter. You'll be able to tell which one the intake is because the valve underneath these valve covers, you can't see them here, but the intake will run right into the port, and you'll be able to see which one of the intake push rods go to by the way it corresponds with the rocker arm connecting with the valve. You get your fuel rail underneath here. You got the injectors under there. Your fuel pressure regulator is up here. Coil pack is up here. Thinking that it's 246135 as far as the firing order goes, or it might be 135, but anyway, I'd have to look that one back up. My ABS system is up here, my air box here. A lot of people think that if you're going to change out the thermostat, that might make a difference with this thing overheating or changing out the water pump. Let me assure you that is very rarely the cause of a overheating issue on one of these. Whenever you do put this back in here, this metal tube, all it has to keep water from seeping out is a rubber O-ring. So I always like to put sealant around this area in order to seal it better. Another issue these things tend to have is the spark plugs go bad, and then you'll kind of get misfire codes inside there. Always change out your spark system and check your coils for wear if they're the original ones. Sometimes they'll wear out or cause a leak. Not too often do these control modules go bad. That's underneath the coil packs, but sometimes it does, causing erratic issues. Also, another thing to always check for is vacuum leaks. Here is the one of the areas to check for. Also underneath this, right here by the intake, there's a gasket that goes around there, and sometimes you got to put a piece of sponge or something to keep this thing held down on there. It'll cause a vacuum leak and cause it to run funny at idle. Another issue that I've run across with people is that they tend to have codes that come up as a cam positioning sensor. The cam positioning sensor is underneath all of this. You basically got to take out the power steering in order to get to it, but rarely is that ever the real problem. Typically, it'll throw that code if you have bad spark plugs or spark plug wires, or maybe something in with the spark system, but rarely do those sensors go out. But it is possible that sometimes they go out. Another issue that I personally ran into was the evap purge control solenoid, and that is located on top of the gas tank. It will cause a code to be thrown for the evap system, and the check engine light will come on. If you change out the evap purge control vent solenoid on top of the gas tank, it will should fix that issue, or sometimes another part of that is up here as well, part of the EGR evap system. And always make sure you have your gas cap closed well too. One of the problems I came across with this particular 3400 with the 4T65E transmission, which they're all mated to, is that it lost fourth gear. Up until 2003, I believe, they did not add a hardened spline in with the fourth gear hub assembly and spline. So you got to order a new one and basically drop the cradle here, and I'll try and add a link in with this video on how to fix the no fourth gear on a 3400 or the 4T65E transmission. So, well, if you have any questions, drop me a comment in the comment sections down below, and I will see if I can help you again with your 3400 motor. These do have a few issues, but once you put the head gasket and intake gasket on, the problems don't seem to be so bad. I've changed out all the spark plugs and plug wires and the coils and the head and intake gasket, and I've not had any problems with these since I've done that. And I put several thousand miles since I've done the repair on this thing. So let me know what's going on and what your problem is, and we'll see if we can't get it fixed.